Good morning, students. Welcome to another session of Wireless Communication Networks, Unit 3, Mobile Radio Propagation, that is small scale fading and multipath. Today's topic is small scale multipath measurements. Small scale multipath measurements. Here, why you are going for this topic? Nothing but, is there any disturbance occurs between transmitter to receiver whenever the channel is air is the medium? The distance between transmitter receiver is less in terms of meters only, or the receiver is moves with a short distance or short duration of time. At that time, is there any changes in the received signal? At that time, we have to go for this topic is small scale multipath measurements. Is there any changes? Is there any rapid fluctuations or is there in a signal? That's why we are going for small scale multipath measurements. Here the importance of this small scale multipath measurements is nothing but to calculate is there any fading effects are coming at the received signal by using a wideband channel sounding techniques. A wideband channel sounding techniques are used. Wideband channel sounding techniques are used. Here what is meant by wideband channel sounding technique? Here based upon this wideband channel sounding, the name is sounding technique, is nothing but whether the carrier frequency is spread or not with the total bandwidth available in the channel. That is the channel bandwidth they are given. In that particular channel bandwidth, the carrier frequency is whether using all the total bandwidth or not. That is the concept of this channel sounding technique. Here under this wideband channel sounding techniques, there are three types of small scale multipath measurements are there. The first one is direct pulse measurement. The second one is spread spectrum sliding correlator measurements. Third one is swept frequency measurements. That is direct pulse measurements. Second one is spread spectrum sliding correlator measurements. Third one is swept frequency measurements. Let's move to the first one. Direct RF pulse system. Direct RF pulse system. Here in this direct RF pulse system, right? Directly you have to send a carrier signal through the available channel bandwidth. Suppose the available channel bandwidth is more compared to the carrier frequency. Carrier frequency. At that time, we are going for this direct RF pulse system. Here nothing but here in this direct RF pulse system, suppose we are assume that this is a channel bandwidth is available, but in the total channel bandwidth, the carrier frequency occupies this space only. What about remaining space is waste. The remaining space is waste. This is used in this direct RF pulse system. Right here in this direct RF pulse system, especially this direct RF pulse system is depends on power delay profile of a channel. Power delay profile of a channel. Here in this, what is the pulse width? What is the pulse width is tau BB. Tau BB is the pulse width with repetitive pulse. With repetitive pulse, the total bandwidth is 2 by TBB hertz. TBB hertz. Now we are going for what is exactly how direct RF pulse systems works. See this figure. This figure shows direct RF channel impulse response measurement system. Impulse response measurement system. Here see this one. This is a transmission side. This is a second what is receiving side. In between this is called the air is a medium, that is RF link, that is radio frequency link. Here see this one. Before going to transmission, we have to need two signals we have to need. One is pulse generated, the second is carrier frequency. Both together here it is as a mixer which is nothing but modulation takes place. Here what is modulation? Modulation is nothing but varying the characteristics of carrier signal with respect to message signal. Their carrier frequency is FE, FC, and message signal is pulse generated. Modulation takes place Then the signal is amplified. After amplify only, then transmits. Why need amplification here? Why need amplification before transmission? This is called a pre-amplification. Pre-amplification. What is the use of pre-amplifier? Pre-amplifier, nothing but which is used to transmit for a long distance purpose. For long distance purpose, we are using pre-amplifier used at transmission section before transmission. Then transmit signals along the RF link, radio frequency link, nothing but air is the medium. Then the signal is transmits. Here the signal here shows in this right pulse width. The number of pulses are generated repetitively. The repetitive pulse is tau REP, repetitive pulse, and is pulse width is tau BB. Right. Then transmits the signal through RF link, and the signal is received by the receiver. The first one is band pass filter. Band pass filter. Band pass filter, nothing but among the total channel bandwidth, we are using only small bandwidth we are using, not for total channel bandwidth. That is the carrier frequency use only small part. That's why the particular part only you have to take, the remainder should be neglected. That's why we are going for band pass filter, whose bandwidth is which is equal to 2 by TBB. After then we have to go for amplification. Next we are going for envelope detector. Envelope detector, right? Next, the signal is shown in the digital storage oscilloscope. Digital storage oscilloscope. Here among this direct RF channel impulse response measurement system, that is the name itself shows impulse response. Here the impulse response is nothing but it depends upon the input and output, that is transmission signal, received signal, in between what exactly the characteristics of a signal in the air. Here it depends upon the direct RF channel impulse response model is depends upon the pulse width. Pulse width. Is there any changes in the pulse width? Nothing but we are getting fading. If no change in pulse width, no problem. If pulse width changes due to multiple parts from transmitter to receiver, automatically fading occurs. This is about direct RF channel impulse response measurement system. Here, must and should we have to maintain the pulse width for the probing pulse. Here, probing pulse is nothing but carrier signal. You should be maintained tau BB. Tau BB. Here, the main problem for this system is we are getting interference and noise. Interference noise due to wideband passband filter are used in the system. Nothing but triggering is not maybe done properly. Triggering may not be done properly in this direct RF pulse system. When we are getting serial phase fade occurs, serious or severe fade occurs, triggering is not possible in the digital oscilloscope. Nothing but the picture is not exactly in the pulse. That is severe fade occurs. If one or two problems are not problem, we are getting severe effect is not problem. The another disadvantage of this direct RF pulse impulse response model is nothing but we did not measure any phase change. If any phase change comes due to multiple paths from transmit receiver, we did not find. That is another drawback. Here we are getting two drawbacks in this direct RF pulse system. Is first one is triggering may not be done when severe fade occurs, and is there any phase changes between the multiple paths? It is also not possible to calculate in this direct RF pulse system. That's why we are going for spread spectrum sliding correlator channel sounding. The second technique is spread spectrum sliding correlator channel sounding. Here the name itself shows the first two words. See this one, spread spectrum. Spread spectrum. Next one is sliding correlator. What is the matter with correlation in signal processing? The correlation is nothing but matching. Other two signals, input signal and output signal. Up to matching only, we are getting exactly output, whether it is match or not. That is whether it is synchronized or not. That's why I think correlated here. Here, what is meant as spread spectrum, right? Now I discuss about only the simple topic is spread spectrum before going to this technique, spread spectrum. Yes, see this one. In previous technique, some of the bandwidth is waste, but here in this spread spectrum technique, is the channel total bandwidth available. Some of the part is used by the carrier frequency, the remaining is waste in previous technique. But here we have to add PN sequence. What is the PN sequence? Pseudo noise sequence. Pseudo noise sequence is added to the FC. It occupies total channel. Then automatically there is no wasting of the channel bandwidth. That is spreading. Spread spectrum. That is FC is spread toward the channel bandwidth by adding the pseudo noise code. Pseudo noise code. Right. That's why we are going for the spread spectrum technique. Right. Here, first we are going for the topic of spread spectrum channel impulse response measurement system. The upper block is transmitting section. The lower block is receiving section. First, we are going for upper block transmitting section. How it works? Spread spectrum channel impulse response measurement system. See this one. Here also are taking place modulation by using mixer. Right here, the input signal is FC. The another one is called the transmission chip clock. Transmission chip clock. Here, what is the use of chip clock here? Here, the chip clock generate a pseudo noise code with respect to time, based upon the timing only. Time generated by the chip clock. Based upon the chip clock, the pseudo sequence generated a pseudo noise code. Then mixing together at a mixer. Then transmit. Then go for amplification. Then transmits. Here, what is the rate of the transmission chip clock? Rate RC, which is equal to alpha hertz, which is equal to 1 by TC. Here, rate is nothing but frequency. How much frequency for this chip clock is RC, which is in terms of alpha hertz, which is equal to 1 by TC. You know the relation between frequency and time. Once the signal is transmits through RF link, the signal is received by the receiver first, then go for band pass filter, whose bandwidth is 2RC. Whose bandwidth is 2RC. Right? Already you know that what is the bandwidth is 2 by TBV in previous section. Similarly, here also we are getting 2 by TC only. But based upon the relation between RC and TC, the bandwidth is which is equal to 2RC. First, this is a signal. Then we are going for wide band pass filter first. It is a wide band. It is a wide band pass filter. Here, what is the difference between wide band and narrow band? Here, the wide band is nothing but having high frequency ranges, which allows high frequency signals. A narrow band, which is having very less frequency, it allows only less frequency signals to allow it. Right here, first stage we are using wide band BPF, whose bandwidth is 2RC. Next, we are going for again mixture. Here, the mixture contains again the receiver chip clock is connected to PN sequence generator. The PN sequence generator connected to mixture. Now, here in this mixture, just compare whether the transmission chip clock and receiver chip clock is same or not first. Right? Synchronization. Whose rate of the receiver chip clock RC, which is equal to beta hertz, which is equal to 1 by TC. When the transmission chip clock, which is equal to receiver chip clock, only match together, we have to receive the exact signal. Otherwise, we have to go for correlation should be takes place up to matching. When it is match, both chip clocks and sequence generator, PN sequence generator, and neglect sequence generator in the receiving side, then which is given to narrow band BPF. Narrow band BPF, whose bandwidth is 2 into alpha minus beta. Then which is given to amplifier. Then go for envelope detector. The final which can be shown in the digital storage oscilloscope. Right. Here the resolution is which is equal to 1 by RC. Resolution 1 by RC. That is this spread spectrum channel impulse response measurement is depends upon the 1 by RC. But in previous technique we are using depends upon TBB. That is each pulse width. Each pulse width. But here we have to consider the resolution is 1 by RC. Here what is meant by matching? What is meant by correlation takes place? For this I will explain one best example for this one in real time. Suppose we are going for radio broadcasting. Here what is radio broadcasting? In radio station having one transmitter. In the different places having receivers. Radios are the receivers. They are transmit with one carrier frequency. But in receiving side, we are tuning the same frequency. When the transmission carrier frequency and tuning received frequency match together, only we are getting audio signal output in your radio. That is matching. If it is not matched, no audio output. If it is slightly matched, we are getting some background noise. That is the same thing in both the transmission side and receiving side. The transmission chip clock rate and receive chip clock rate. And similarly, PS sequence generators, both transmission side and receiving side should be matched together. Then only we are getting output. Then only we are getting output. How if it is not matched? If it is not matched, you have to check by using trial and error methods for changing the chip clock at the receiving side. That is tuning up to matched for transmission chip clock. That is about correlation. Here in this pseudo noise code sequence having whose chip duration is TC and chip rate is RC which is equal to 1 by TC. Now we have to calculate power spectrum density. That is how to represent power spectrum density in terms of capital S. Suppose the power spectrum density in terms of frequency domain is S of F, which is equal to sine pi of F minus FC TC by pi of F minus FC TC whole square. This is about power spectrum density. And bandwidth is 2 times of RC. Here in this, must and should we have to maintain at least maximum correlation should be takes place. Then only we are getting output. Here we have to discuss about one important topic is processing gain. Here what is meant by processing gain? Here nothing but the processing gain is nothing but which is realized in spectrum receiver and how it can reject passband interference. But this passband interference is available in first technique, that is RF direct pulse sounding technique. But here we are reject by using two band pass filters at the receiving side. One is wide band and the narrow band. That is the processing gain is how reject a passband interference is called the processing gain. Here the processing gain which is equal to 2 RC by RBB, which is equal to 2 tau BB by TC, which is equal to signal to noise ratio out by signal to noise ratio input. This is about processing gain. Similarly, we had to discuss about the time resolution. Of multipath components using a spread spectrum system with sliding correlation. Timing resolution. Nothing but at different times we are receiving the signal from multiple paths from transmitter to receiver. How much we have to path delays we are getting, that is delta tau, which is equal to 2 TC, which is equal to 2 by RC. Similarly, we have to calculate maximum correlation time. That is nothing but the sliding correlation process gives and equivalent time measurements that are updated every time. The two sequences are maximally correlated. That is, both transmission and receiving chip clocks and pseudo noise code should be matched only we are getting output exactly. That is how much time it takes for correlation between transmitter transmitter to receiver is capital T. That is delta T, which is equal to TC gamma L, which is equal to gamma L by RC. What is meant by TC here? Chip period in terms of seconds. What is meant by RC? Chip rate in terms of hedges. What is meant by gamma? Sliding factor. What is meant by L? Sequence length in terms of chips. Here now we are discussing about sliding factor. Gamma. What is meant by sliding factor? The sliding factor is defined as the ratio between transmitter chip clock rate to the difference between the transmitter and receiving chip clock rates. That is gamma, which is equal to alpha by alpha minus beta. Here what is meant alpha? Transmission chip clock rate in terms of hedges. Beta also the receiver chip clock rate in terms of hedges. Here what is meant sequence length? L equal to 2 power n minus 1. That is L equal to PN sequence length. Already discussed now in previous Microsoft Word. Total channel bandwidth, some part occupied by FC, the remaining part occupied by the pseudo noise code. Yeah, what is the length of the pseudo noise code is nothing but L, which is equal to 2 power n minus 1. Here what is meant by n is nothing but number of shift registers are used in a sequence generator. Sequence generator. Right. Next another important one for this is actual propagation time. Actual propagation time, nothing but once the signal is transmitted, the signal is transmitted along the RF link and this is a signal. After receiving the signal, we are go for sliding correlation, that is matching of transmission and receiving chip clock rates and pseudo noise codes. Once it is correlation, how much time it takes to display in oscilloscope? That is which is equal, that is actual propagation time, which is equal to observed time divided by gamma. Observed time by divided by gamma. Right. Now you know the TC value. What is the TC? Right. Chip clock. What is L? Pseudo noise sequence length. Then what is the exact length? What is the exact pseudo noise sequence length has a period which is greater than the longest multipath propagation delay. Then what is exactly pseudo noise sequence period? That is tau pseudo noise code sequence, which is equal to TC into L. TC into L, right? How much time it takes to transmit and how much length of the PN pseudo, which it gives to period. Here in this second one, spectrum sliding correlator technique having advantages. What is the first advantage? Which removes pass band interference by using band pass filters. Two band pass filters are used at the receiving section. And next one is sensitivity is also should be adjustable, and it requires less transmitting power compared to RF direct pulse system. But here also are getting disadvantages. Here these measurements are not done in real time. These measurements are not done in a real time, just only for simulation purpose. Here also we are not possible to measure the phase difference. Here also not done to calculate phase difference for multiple parts. This is a common disadvantages from first and second techniques. Next we are going for the third technique is frequency domain channel sounding. Frequency domain channel sounding. That is the total working of this technique is in terms of frequency domain only. Here, see this one. This is exact representation of block diagram of frequency domain channel impulse response measurement system. Here the transmission and receiver section is there. In between, we have to calculate impulse response model. Here, we have to transmit a signal in terms of time domain is x of t, but where the topic is frequency domain, that is the input signal is x of omega, capital X of omega is the frequency domain, which is given to port 1. Port 1. The second port is a received signal y of omega, which is our port 2. In between transmitter and receiver, we are using a channel. Here the channel contains vector network analyzer with swept frequency oscillator. Vector network analyzer with swept frequency oscillator, which is used to calculate S parameter test set. S parameter test set. Right. Here in this system, we have to calculate S parameters. Before going to this S parameters, you know that you know the Z parameters topic is there, ABCD parameters is there, different types of parameters are available. Here, what is the use? Here, nothing but X parameters, Y parameters, Z parameters, ABCD parameters are used to calculate what is the exact functioning of the system and what are the characteristics of a particular system for low frequency domain only, for low frequency domain. But once we are going for high frequency domain, to calculate the characteristics of a system, what is my characteristics? What is the input voltage? What is the output voltage? What is the input current? What is the output current? Like this. For high frequency domain, instead of using X, Y, Z, ABCD parameters, we are going for S parameters. What is S parameter? Scattering parameters. Scattering parameters. Test set. Here, how many ports for this system is 2 ports, port 1 and port 2. Input for port 1 is X of omega. Output for port 2 is Y of omega. Then we have to calculate the impulse response. Suppose I am giving X of t and Y of t. You have to calculate impulse response is H of t. That is H of t, which is equal to Y of t by X of t. Similarly, in terms of frequency domain, H of omega, which is equal to Y of omega by X of omega, which is equal to S21 of omega. What is the S21? Scattering parameter from second port to first port. Second port to first port, scattered. That is, we have to block the receiving section. It's the signal moves from port 1 to port 2 and reflect back. How much reflection can be takes place? That is S21 of omega. Once we have to find out H omega, suppose we want in terms of time domain. Now we are applying inverse DFT processor. Then finally we are getting HT. That is, first we have to calculate the impulse response model in time domain. Sorry, frequency domain. Then apply inverse DFT processor. The finally we are calculating H of t in time domain. Here in this block, a network analyzer. What is its use of a vector network analyzer, which controls synthesized frequency sweeper. That is the controlling of the bandwidth. Controlling of the bandwidth. Right. This is about the third technique, frequency domain impulse response model, by using by calculating the scattering parameters. Right. These are 3 techniques which are available for calculating a small scale multipath measurements. Do you have any query? Type your query in a chat box. Thank you very much for attending today's session.